Hello, my name is Sylvia Marquin. Today is September 15, 2019. This is video exercise week number 2. And during this week's topic, we've been discussing cells and the tissues in our bodies. We have been studying histology, which is the microscopic study of the anatomy. And we know that their tissues is a group of cells that work together to perform a function. We do have 4 different types of tissues in our bodies that work together. And those 4 types are the epithelial, the connective, the muscle, and the neural tissues. We're going to briefly discuss those 4 tissues during this video exercise. We're going to start with the epithelial tissues. And the epithelial tissues, the purpose is to cover the body and lines the body cavities, the organs' body cavities. It also protects the body by performing a layer of cells between internal and external environment. It is found in the skin, also in the lining of the respiratory tract, vessels, glands, cavities, and it also lines the large intestine and the digestive tract. The epithelial cells are connected to one another and to the underlying tissues by a matrix called basal lamina or basement membrane. In between the epithelial cells, there are these cells that are called leaky or tight junctions. And the purpose of the leaky junction is to allow for free movement in between the epithelial cells, for example, in the cells of a capillary. And for the tight junction is to create a barrier in between epithelial cells to keep unwanted substances out of a certain organ, for example, the lining of the digestive tract. Next, we're going to be discussing the connective tissue. The connective tissue provides support for internal tissues and organs. Most abundant and widely distributed tissue in the body. So the connective tissue is the most abundant and widely distributed with many different types, appearances, and functions. The connective tissue is characterized by the extensive extracellular matrix, which consists of water, proteoglycans, and protein fibers. May be described as fixed if it does not move or mobile if it flows around the body. Most of the connective tissue are fixed. There are also many different types of connective tissue. We have the loose connective tissue, which is usually under the skin, for example, small glands. We have the dense connective tissue, which usually is tendons and ligaments that cover the muscle nerves. We also have the adipose tissue, which is the brown and white fat in our bodies. We have the blood that usually is kind of a mobile connective tissue, and it also has extensive extracellular matrix called plasma, and we also have the supporting connective tissue. Next, we're going to move into the muscle tissue. The muscle tissue is an excitable, meaning that they're able to create electrical signals through the tissue, characterized by its unique structure, including the contractile filaments actin and myosin, contract to induce force and ultimately movement of the body. The muscle tissue has 3 different types of tissues. It has the skeletal, cardiac, and smooth muscle tissues. For the skeletal tissue, it is attached to the bones, and they're also called striated or voluntary. For the cardiac tissue, it composes of the heart wall. It cannot control its contractions, so it's called striated and voluntary. We also have the smooth muscle tissue, non-striated or visceral and voluntary. for example, in the vessels or the tube-shaped organs like the fallopian tube and the female's reproductive system. Last, we're going to discuss the nervous tissue. And the nervous tissue, the function is to rapid communicate between body structures and control the body functions. But it wouldn't be able to perform this function without the neuron. So we're going to go over the neuron for, a couple topics. The neurons transmit information from one portion of the body to another. And the neurons also stimulate the muscle cells to move and are the main cells of the central processing of the body, the brain, and the spinal cord. But also we have the axon that carries nerve impulse away from the cell body. We have the dendrites, which there's one or more of those that carry the nerve impulses towards the cell body. And also with the assistance of the glia cells surround the neurons to provide biochemical support for the neurons. This will conclude today's video exercise number 2, and we will be meeting again next week for video exercise week number 3. Thank you.